Yes, this is about the New Jersey governor. Yep. Oh well. I'm live, but it's not the way that I wanted it to be. Good morning, Laura. Has good reason. Yeah, she does. Sure does, Rich. Sure does. Kind of hope she does, in fact. Do you think there'll be a shutdown? Yes. Yes. I do. How long is a different story, but I do think there'll be a shutdown. Morning, Scott. Hope some attorneys step up and pro bono her case. That would be nice. Arrest Dems. What does that have to do with anything, Ken? Grow up. Who is doxxed? Mickey Sherrill. She's running for governor. Arrest all, 80 million Democrats? Good luck with that one. Because that's the right kind of America where we just arrest the people that we don't like. Hey, Kia. Bum, bum, bum. But when we say all men, then there's an issue. But all Democrats should be jailed. Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. Hi, Kia. Hello over on the tube. Tell us about the Cheryl situation. So, there was a FOIA request via the National Archives by supporters of Mickey Sherrill's opponent in the New Jersey governor race. And the administration gave them unredacted files. So it's got addresses, phone numbers, social security numbers, records from her time at the Naval Academy. Morning, Aaron. Finally got Wi-Fi back after 5 p.m. yesterday. Got your iPad. Nice. Thanks, Kia. Appreciate you. So yeah, mafia tactics, all that stuff, all that fun stuff. Oh, they're pissed. Can confirm, they're pissed. But the fact is this is more than just a New Jersey problem. And if we as a country cannot see that, we're going to be in trouble. I appreciate all of you living in two places at once. That means a lot to me. Double standards. What do you mean? I'm not saying wrong. I just, what kind of double standards are you talking about? Good morning, Ashley. Hi, Lisa. What's everyone got going on this weekend? Accountability for thee and not for me is this administration's slogan. Yep. To be fair, it's a lot of politicians' slogan, but this administration does it worse than everyone. Hey, Lisa. Going to Long Island? Nice. Speed puzzling. You can talk like an adult over there. That's true, Aaron. It is. You have to be less, much less. Speaking is much less restrictive over on the tube, for sure. Is making corruption a mantra. Yep. Yep. Oh, is he? Did everybody leave? I know the last time he came up to speak, like most of the General Assembly left. Hopefully some people that were of this skin color left. It's your husband's birthday weekend, so you're making a crustless pumpkin pie. Ooh. Fancy. Netanyahu speaking at the UN was cringe. I bet it was, Blue. I bet it was. Good morning. Looked pretty empty. So shocked how many people support him. Yep. Cringe was an understatement. While IS reps cheered. Of course they did. Of course they did. Hey, Lisa. Good mythical morning, Patty. Hi, Linda. You guys are awesome, especially those of you that are in both places. You don't need to be in both places, but I do appreciate it. Hey, Kiwi. Good morning. How are you? How you doing, Patty? Yes, that was golden. Before I went live, I saw a TikTok. I guess they're doing a live action version of K-pop Demon Hunters. So, welcome to the dark side. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. That's right. What is your stance on should we be supporting them unequivocally? No. We should not be supporting them unequivocally. I think this government is needs to be gone. I think anyone who's considered an ally we should support, but we should not be supporting people no matter what they do. That allows people to do some absolutely wretched things. Live action. Yeah, supposedly, Shane. That's what I saw. It said, it showed them all dressing up, and it said it. Like, it showed all the different characters. It was really crazy. I mean, we should be supporting people unequivocally when they act humanely. That's what I mean. Hey, Casey. Guys, Casey and NJ, if you've watched any of the clips or the video that we posted last night about the thing with Mikey, that's who was on. So you should follow her. What's up? Oh, you know, the world's coming to an end. Thank you for being willing to come in and talk about it. In the grand scheme of things, it was easy for me. They should not be striking those boats that are bringing people aid. Also truth. Love the fish. Thanks, Linda. Thank you, Kia. Appreciate you. Yeah. Come on up. It's not letting me invite you. I don't know why. Good morning, Angel. Hey, Badger. Hey, Summer. Oh.
I think I'm here.
There you are.
Hi.
Hi.
Again, long time no see.
I know. Been like forever.
Hi, guys. Can you see me? I'm like, how the hell does this work? I'm new to this live shit.
There you are.
Shit, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Definitely please watch last night's episode, guys, and keep tabs on what is going on in New Jersey. We've got some crazy, crazy mafia shit going on. And I'm just worried for all of your state's elections to come.
Yeah. It's pretty huge. Like, guys, seriously. And that's why we say share. Call
your Congress people and tell them, like, this is essentially what happened. If you haven't had a minute to catch up, or you've been into the Comey of it all, which I understand, big news, but there's a lot of distractions going on. The Democrat running for governor of New Jersey in just 40 days. She's a sitting congresswoman who served as a lieutenant in the Navy, helicopter pilot. Her opponent, who is a MAGA sleazeball, his name's Jack Ciattarelli. He and his cronies on his behalf filed a FOIA request.
Every time you say his name.
I know. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
He had one of his top donors file a FOIA request to get dirt on Mikey's naval history, hoping, because, I mean, of course, these people think that there's no way this woman's as qualified as she really is. And yes, very mafioso, very mafioso. The name does tell it all. I always say, if you live in New Jersey, you know a guy like Jack. That's how I avoid any anti-Italian rhetoric. Anyway, long story short, they used the federal government to be able to get this FOIA completely unredacted. So this is a woman who has 4 children. She is a sitting congresswoman who is also running a campaign. She's everywhere during a time of insane political violence. Her addresses, social security number, so much of her personal information released unredacted. This is insanity. All for the sake of trying to get a gotcha on her because they're afraid that the Democrats going to win the election.
Yeah.
And again, I'll say it for the 99th time, this is precedent setting. This will happen in your state. Everyone's waiting for 2026, waiting for the midterms, waiting for their turn. Keep eyes on New Jersey if you want to know what's next for you.
And for the person that asked, that is not, if you slow it down, that is not technically how you pronounce the name. That is just how Casey pronounces it in her New Jersey
I talked to my
speed.
fiance about it last night. If you live in Jersey, you're saying Chitterelli.
Yeah. That's called New Jersey pronunciation right there.
Right, it's our vernacular.
And by the way, so I was telling you yesterday, Casey, how we have so many New Jersey people. So Theory Thought is New Jersey. Scott Dolan is New Jersey.
Amazing. Good to see you guys. It's crazy
all
out
the Jersey
here, huh?
people. Lori is New
We started off the
Jersey.
morning yesterday with a tweet from Donald Trump calling Mikey Mike and saying that she wants transgender for everyone and open borders. Borders to where, guys? Pennsylvania?
The ocean.
The fuck? Right,
obviously.
the ocean. Ellis Island? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how low they will go. This is an attack on every single one of us that is in opposition to the current administration and shows that they will do whatever the fuck they have to do to win every single state. They'll do it.
Yeah. It boggles the mind every
Happy
time.
Friday.
How you have free speech. Okay, so here's the thing about everything in. Hey, Pashley. Guys, Princess Pashley, if you didn't watch the last episode of the podcast, Princess Pashley is who we interviewed talking about her experiences raising a trans daughter. So you should check that out. Free speech in the way it's written. So there's 2 things about the free speech. So free speech as a whole is only talking about the government and the government doing something against you. Past that, it still only exists if the systems we have in place actually hold to the Constitution. That's the other thing we need to remember. The reason that a lot of us say we are in a constitutional crisis is not because we don't think we have a constitution. It's because everybody, the people in charge right now, from Congress to the executive branch to even to the Supreme Court, are unwilling to hold the Constitution as law. Like, they're not. That's why we're dealing with free speech stuff. That's why we're dealing with this. These are all issues. It's only a protection if our government actually, in the end, protects. It's not as though no president has ever tried to go against the free speech of its citizens, but we've always had a judiciary and even sometimes a Congress that has held them accountable. That's the whole point. If they stop doing that, then nothing, the Constitution doesn't matter at that point.
It also only protects you from action from the government. It doesn't protect you from any other consequences. think we're all very misinformed about what free speech really means. And
in this case, it's even worse because, this, if you're talking, say, the whole Jimmy Kimmel case, he fights it, it gets turned around, he makes his arguments, and Disney brings him back on, and he's still going. You can't close Pandora's box when you have had the kind of doxing that Mickey has had. It's not like magically all of that information that was given to her opponent that he has spread out to other people can magically
her social security number
disappear.
Is on almost every page. Like the lack of redaction is it makes, I mean, this is just my opinion. CBS has called this an egregious blunder. I make no mistake. Do not believe this was a blunder, a mistake, an oversight. The way that this was left unredacted was absolutely intentional and very dangerous for Mikey and her family.
Yep. And again, we need accountability. If we do not get accountability, then what's the point? Like everything we say we want, every position we say we support, every direction that we want to go as a country, if we stop holding our politicians accountable when they do this kind of shit, then there's no point. What's the point of any of it?
I'm seeing in your comment section, and I totally get it. Like people saying, I missed this story. It's like, of course they did. Because, we've got Comey, there's so much shit going on. And it's not to put my tinfoil hat on, but like, this is all intentional. They do something sleazy and shady. They get called out for it. Let's run another news story, another one. And then no one's really actually paying attention. And suddenly you're in 2026, you've got a Democrat who's running a campaign in your state, and it's bad things are going to happen.
Marty, you think that it's gaslighting to say that it's dangerous for our government to hand over the social security number, addresses, phone numbers, records of a sitting congressman to their opponent?
A Navy veteran. I mean, if you guys give a flying F about veterans.
Of a veteran?
Yeah. Like, yeah. You seem to really care about people having children. This is a mother of 4.
Yeah.
Catholic.
If it's not a big deal.
She's a religious woman. It's like, I really can't think of a reason other than being in a cult mindset that you would look at this and not be like, holy shit, that's really bad. That's really scary and really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Badger. So I'm hosting on TikTok and over on the tube at the same time. So I put the chat of TikTok over in the tube so people that are over there can feel like they're involved in both chats at the same time.
Yeah, I said this last night. Someone just said this is so backwards for the Republican Party. I think at this point, establishment Democrats are the Republican Party, and MAGA is, you can fill in the blanks there. You can look up Mikey Sherrill data leak if you want. CBS is one of the places that's covered this as far as I've seen fairly accurately, although nobody's saying what I'm saying, which is that this wasn't just an egregious blunder.
Yeah. I mean, and I made the video about it this morning. My biggest frustration is, so again, the government doxed a sitting congressman. The government doxing anyone is bad, but doxing a sitting congressman who is running for governor and giving the information to their opponent makes it like 20 times worse. But the fact that when I go into the news and I start going down the list, the thing at the top is Comey is being indicted on BS, and like
Comey's Instagram story,
15 or 20 stories down is some like really calm titles too. It's like Democrats want an investigation into Congresswoman's personal data being given away or something like
Right.
it's
Like this,
they're the calmest titles I've ever seen on my entire life from a media.
It's the most overused word in the book, but gaslighting us into thinking this is fucking normal.
And again, it may be starting to get more coverage, and if it is,
I hope it is.
Hallelujah.
That's why I am here. I'm trying to get people outside of the state of New Jersey to talk about this. I know that it's a big ask. I want the Kimmel treatment for this one.
But also, everyone on here, if you can go over to the tube at some point and watch the full video about it and spread it to all of your friends, this is insanely important that yes, rocks. Yes. This is insanely important that this not become something that is not talked about at minimum up through the election. But again,
I'm sitting here wondering, like, what does this mean for Jack's campaign? Like, what you've done is illegal.
Yeah. Yes. And
what does that mean for the results of our election?
Yep. And again, as they have shown, what the commonality between this government and what they do is they try something. If nobody reacts, if they don't get a ton of pushback, they will do it more, and they will be more egregious than they already are.
Absolutely. And somebody just said, talking point for intentionality, they scrubbed 5 of her superior social security numbers and left hers on every page. Exactly.
Yep. Good morning, Dee Dee. And good morning, anyone else.
I need to get ready to go do my real job.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
And thank you for platforming this issue and continuing to, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Sounds good.
Have a good day, everybody.
Everyone say goodbye to KZ.
Bye.
Who is docs? Mikey Sherrill. She's a congresswoman who's running for governor in New Jersey. Seems hypocritical. What's hypocritical? I'll see if I can find one of her old comments. She's been talking for a while, or she talked a while ago. Let's see if I can find it. Everybody's seeing all the old comments over on tube because I'm scrolling through trying to find. There she is. Nope, it's too old. I can't pin it. Was just spin? Of course it was just spin, KJ. Of course. How you doing, Kiva? Yeah. And again, the fact that it is not as big news nationwide compared to the Comey indictment is horrible. Is horrible. Like, I've seen a few. I'm doing good, Kiva. I've seen a few lawyers talk about the indictment of Comey, and they're like, it's really weak. Like, their arguments are really weak. Interesting. So let's see. Resume live. Interesting. So this thing is acting like I'm not live, even though I'm also live. So I can't invite people, and I can't see people coming in. I might need to restart my live because it's being weird. What's Comey being accused of? Oh, man. I don't remember because I wasn't really paying attention to it. You can pause so you can't miss anything. Obstruction and lying to Congress. There you go. If community people want to come up, they can. Another plus for Tube over TikTok is you can pause so you don't miss anything. Yeah, that's pretty nice too. That's pretty nice too. Hello?
Well, good morning.
Hey.
Good morning.
Everyone is a blank picture for me. I have no idea who was brought up.
I see Scott, I see Linda, I see myself.
You know, if you'd like, Mike, as you know, I follow politics pretty closely, and I've been following the New Jersey governor race. I see some panic on Discord, and I saw some panic in other places about the race. If you'd like, I'd go over it a little bit with you. It's up to you.
I'm going to restart the live because this is really annoying that I cannot see anybody. So I'm going to restart real quick, and then we'll bring you back up, and then we'll talk about it. All right. I'll be right back, everyone. It's being weird. It's being weird, weird, weird. It logged me out. Yes, Maureen. Technical difficulties. Quite a few today. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, most of them know that I can, and some of the ones couldn't because, yeah. You're right. I probably should have. Okay. They have. I wonder if it has to do with the switchover. Hi, Suzanne. Hey, Clara. Good morning, Laura. So hopefully it's working now. Scott, if you want to talk, I can see if I can bring you up. If you're here. All right. Hey, it works now. There we go. I can do things. I highly doubt Comey is going to jail.
Comey's not going to jail. The thing about the Comey thing that really pisses me off, and this is done by design, they're indicting him. They're going to cost him $500,000. Now, I don't know what Comey's personal financial situation is. I'm sure he's well off, but being a government servant, you don't get to be a multimillionaire. And this is going to cost him a ton of money to defend completely spurious charges. And in the United States, very rarely does the prosecution, if they make a false prosecution, have to pay legal fees. But if I were the judge in this case, this would be one time I would have, before I throw the case out, I would make the government pay his legal fees too. And then maybe a little bit more in damages.
But this has been Donald Trump's MO from the very beginning.
Well,
He's done this to businesses.
It's his MO because he's using the Justice Department as a threat against people.
Mm-hmm. But he makes it so it's not worth someone's time. Like for businesses, he has ordered from smaller businesses refuse to pay and tie them up in litigation, so they have no choice but to close their business down, and that is so unethical. And we're transplanting that strategy here. We're not. The charges may be thrown out, but he's still going to be out of pocket, as you said, $500,000. These things are not cheap. So.
Yeah, to answer the question in chat, they said it still has to go to the grand jury. No, the grand jury indicted him yesterday.
Yep.
It's going to trial now.
But again, all the grand jury does is look at whatever evidence the government decides to show them.
Yes,
it's all that's necessary.
It's very easy to indict somebody. It's
but
really
it is
easy,
no longer. It is no longer easier to indict, or they wouldn't. You can no longer say they would indict a ham sandwich because they have shown in D.C. that they wouldn't indict a ham sandwich.
Yeah, that trite old phrase is no longer applicable, but it's still fairly easy because you can't present any defense arguments in a grand jury. It's only the prosecutor talking to the grand jurors. You have no attorney. You have no right to present any evidence in your own defense. But what I came to talk about was the race in New Jersey. Now, Mike has gone over both on YouTube here and on the Stack the implications of what occurred in New Jersey on a moral, political, and legal basis. I added a few comments. A lot of other people have too. and he's covered that fairly well. But there have been some concerns about the actual race itself. And the race itself, there is no doubt about it, full stop, the race has tightened a bit in New Jersey, but a bit. Everybody is freaking out about the Emerson poll, which came out day before yesterday. And Emerson is a good quality polling that shows a tied race at 43-43. Remember those numbers, 43-43. That means a good portion of the electorate, 14%, is undecided. I'll get to that in a moment. The real issue is, why is the race tightened a bit? There's local factors involved here that most people don't follow. New Jersey, to begin with, doesn't like giving governors more than 8 straight years, and we have 8 straight years of Democratic governorship. New Jersey's very famous for, after 8 years, they go with the other party. Secondly, the incumbent governor, Phil Murphy, isn't all that popular. The 2 big issues that are driving this election are, 1, the usual issue in New Jersey, property taxes, and 2, our electric bills went up 20% in June, and that pissed people off. Is that the governor's fault? Of course not. But we all know in politics, who's ever in office takes the credit, but also gets the blame when things go wrong. And there's also, undoubtedly, in the last election in 2024, New Jersey did move rightwards. Harris only won the state by 6, which is very, very low by New Jersey standards. But there's something to remember here, folks. That Emerson poll is an outlier. As good as it is, it's an outlier. Other polls clearly show that Mikey Sherrill, and it's pronounced Mikey, even though it's spelled like Mickey, has a mid to high single-digit lead. And those of you who know me know that the only thing to do with polling is look at the crosstabs. That's where the real information is, folks. Look at the crosstabs. When you look at the crosstabs, you will find that 14% of the electorate is undecided. 2/3 of those people voted for Harris. 2/3 of them lean towards Sherrill. Okay? What that means is that the vast majority of the undecided are leaning towards the Democrat, and the vast majority of the undecided are women. Now, which way do women usually break on Election Day? Women usually break blue, more so than men do. What that means is that when you add in, even looking at the best case for Jack Ciattarelli, the Republican candidate, I'm looking at the data and I crunched it 8 ways from China. If you look at the undecided and even have them break only 60-40, not 66-33, towards the Democrat, that puts in a best case scenario, as of today, Ciattarelli with only a 47% ceiling. So all this pearl clutching and everything else is a little bit premature. Is the race tighter than the Virginia race? It absolutely is. There's no doubt about it. Is there a world where Jack Ciattarelli could pull an upset and win? Yes, there is. There is a world where that could happen. But I sure as hell would much rather be in, Mikey Sherrill's shoes than Jack Ciattarelli's shoes, because I don't see where the votes are that he could get to get him above 50%. Now, there's 40 days out, and things could change, and that's important to note. But I just don't see the votes there, folks. And there's one other thing that we have to consider, the national political environment. Yes, there's local issues in New Jersey, but New Jersey is not immune to the national political environment. And the national political environment over 47 special elections since Trump was elected shows Democrats outperforming their 2024 numbers by an average of 16 points. That is going to work in Sherrill's benefit come November.
Yep.
What are the stats for the Virginia race right now? Out of curiosity, like what's the spread? Asking for.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
My apologies. What was the
What are we looking
what are
at
the
with
polls?
Stamberger in Virginia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
the
does
Thank you.
Virginia
my
look?
data shows Stamberger winning by double digits.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised because of how impacted my area was by the firings and the dojings.
That's the reason.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I was doged by proxy, so we're pissed.
A huge voting block in Virginia is the northern DC area,
Yes.
and
Fairfax
even
County, Arlington County,
yes,
Falls Church.
yeah, Falls Church.
Loudon is the wild card in this race because they can go either direction.
Even the people who were not doged are still furious over what happened.
Because it
They
affects
will
everybody.
show up. They will show up to vote in overwhelming numbers. I don't see that. That's why the Cook Political Report, which by the way still ranks New Jersey as lean blue, has Virginia as likely blue in the governor's race.
And this all comes back to the overarching statement of all of it. While I am upset that about what happened, it's not because I think that what happened to Mikey Sherrill is going to drastically affect the race. It's
the fact that it happened.
It's the fact that it happened. It's the fact that it's our government that did it. It's the fact that if we don't hold someone accountable for it, it could be done in other states, in other ways, in such a manner that it could affect a race. I mean, yes, if something happens and because of this, Schiaparelli wins, sure, it's going to be 10 times worse, I think, in the long run. But again, it's not because of the actual specific act. It's the fact that this administration will feel emboldened by the fact that they aren't being held accountable and potentially succeeded, regardless of whether we think you will. There's a lot more to it than just this specific event, even though we need to talk about this specific event because a person, a human being, a sitting congressman had their personal data released to the public, basically. There's no stopping the other camp from sending out all of that information to everyone.
There's also like, how would the private sector or any entity in the private sector that did this, what is required of them when this shit happens, right? Like my company, if we leak, if we have a FERPA violation, you know, releasing student records without permission, express written permission, or leak their data, we have to pay for their like Experian monitoring for a year. That's what happens to us.
How do you know this? Where is the proof? I couldn't find it. There's literally...
It's all over the place.
Are you blind?
There's literally stories about it everywhere.
If you do have a visual impairment, I apologize to you, but it's everywhere. Jesus Christ.
That's not the impairment, Scott.
Yeah, I know.
I just think it's crazy that somebody legit had the audacity to come in here and say that. When I just pulled it up, I have it up on my iPad, and there's like 10 sources in the first screen before I even had to scroll about it.
Is this part of like the gaslight strategy? Like,
yes. The other, I mean, the fact is Scott, you mentioned it, but there's talk about it. The other camp has already used information from it. So it's not as though...
Yeah, that is a major political blunder by the Citarelli campaign. That's not going to help him one bit. And by the way, I've seen some misinformation, what a shock, on TikTok from political commentators who I do follow and on YouTube. Let me get something straight here so that people understand this. You got it right, Mike. Thank you.
Woo!
But they didn't get it right. There was a cheating scandal in the 1990s at the Naval Academy, and that is what this involves. Mikey Sherrill was a cadet. There were 130 people accused of cheating. Let this be understood. She was not one of them. What she was disciplined for, and justifiably so, she did something, she paid the price for it, she wasn't allowed to walk at the graduation. Some of her friends were involved, and she didn't rat out her friends. Now, Mr. Citarelli, if this is all you got nothing. I've lived in New Jersey for 68 years, and believe me, nobody is going to give a rat's ass that Mikey Sherrill was not a rat.
That New Jersey is not the place to be.
Yeah, if you think this is a big story, you don't know anything about New Jersey.
Where are you? Where
Oh my gosh. I'd like to understand how it would get the vote, please. Brits, what do you mean? How it would get what vote? And we'd be happy to answer. I just want to make sure I understand what you're asking.
Are you asking if the information being given?
Let's just let her expand on it. We'll answer. Yeah, that was funny. That it's always funny when people are like
I read that
Jersey, dude.
I believe that she was saying, and I'll let her speak for herself, how will this affect the vote?
Well, they're trying to get dirt on this gal, and we've seen that behavior in elections past, right?
I think she got doxxed to get the vote for. She got doxxed to get dirt for the other campaign to use against her. So yes, the hope is they would find something that would cause people that may support Mikey Sherrill to not vote for her.
Yeah, to answer Blitz's question, I do not believe there's a world where this will get Jack Citarelli a single more vote. I can see a few more votes coming to Mikey Sherrill because of this. Again, the bottom line, all Jack Citarelli got out of breaking the law, is that Mikey Sherrill didn't rat out her friends and was not even remotely involved in the cheating incident itself. That's it. That's the sum total of everything they got out of doxing Mikey Sherrill.
Over on the tube, Claire goes, Jersey? A rat? Forget about it.
Forget about it. Listen, I went to Rutgers. I know what that state's about.
I hear you, Brianna. Yeah, and I'm in the same red county that somebody else was referring to before.
Snitches get stitches. I mean, there's a reason in my video yesterday, the first thing I said was compare it to friggin' Sopranos.
Well, in fairness, New Jersey is not the Sopranos, Mike.
I know, but it was, you know what I mean. You knew what I meant.
Yes, Lori. But I'd prefer not to name the town. If you want to DM me, I will.
The Sopranos and all these like media representations in New Jersey really are referencing the northeast part of it, or the shore. I think Scott would agree with me about that.
By the way, thank you for everyone that's over on the tube. I appreciate it. We're up to 15 over there.
Hey.
Make sure you hit the thumbs up if you're hanging out.
If what he's doing is illegal, how is if this is illegal, how is he even still allowed to run?
Because he didn't do it.
His campaign did.
And it wasn't even technically his campaign. It was just someone who supports his campaign did a FOIA request. Anyone can do a FOIA.
Let me go back to the political implications of this just for 1 second. I only want to say one sentence. This was a remarkably dumb political move by Jack Citarelli's campaign.
Absolutely.
Remarkably. They had nothing to gain, and as we are now seeing, everything to lose by pulling some bullshit like this. And the reason that, and I agree with Mike, the reason this is a national story isn't that Jack Citarelli's campaign pulled something like this. that's normal in New Jersey. What isn't normal is the president and his administration breaking the law to do this. That has national implications and should be upsetting to people in all 50 states.
Oh, we're up to 20, guys. Yeah. And again, this is unethical, illegal, dangerous. They've put Mikey Sherrill, her family, her extended family in danger. Like, the fact that these people cannot understand what kind of an environment that we are in right now. I mean, that's the other thing. This is a dangerous environment. And to give all of that, to do all of that to a sitting congresswoman who is running for governor is dangerous.
This administration has shown contempt for congressmen who disagree with them. Who was the guy who went into the ICE meeting and they tackled him to the ground after he identified himself? He's the senator from California, is he not? Scott, or do you remember?
Yes, it was the senator from California.
Well, and also the one of Mikey's opponents in the primaries, the mayor of Newark, got tied up. Got tied up with that too. Yeah, these ICE guys are the Gestapo. I mean, there's just no other way to describe them. But that's another. It's not the subject of today's discussion. Mike, no. I'd like to draw a parallel. Actually, I know your post today, which was excellent. Talked about why is everybody talking about Comey? They should be talking about this. Frankly, they should be talking about both because they're two different sides of the same coin.
Right.
What we're talking about, at least in my opinion, is literally criminal action, whether it be the weaponization of the DOJ or the doxing of a sitting congressperson and candidate for governor of the state of New Jersey. These are both criminal acts perpetrated by this administration. And that's what makes both of them national stories. But I do agree with you, the Sherrill thing should be every bit as important as the Comey thing.
Here's my issue, and obviously this is just Google News, so every place is going to be slightly different, but I look around everywhere just to make sure I don't miss what's going on. So I go into the US section of Google News, which it ranks things by what they consider to be the most important. The most important are at the top. So you got indictment of James Comey, the ICE facility incident in Dallas, 100% tariffs on trucks, cabinets, and pharmaceuticals, TikTok deal, immigrants with no criminal record now largest group in ICE detention, Camp Mystic in Texas, Alabama man convicted of an unaliving back in 1997, Tylenol, Colbert, H-1B visa stuff, government shutdown, House Judiciary Committee launch, where is this? Letitia James talking about the U.S. attorney being under pressure to charge Letitia James. Hegseth calling his meeting with a large number of generals. And then Mikey Sherrill. I had to go through all of that. That's practically the bottom of the list.
Yes, and even the venerated New York Times didn't have this as a story at all, because I kept looking until very late yesterday, long after it broke everywhere else. So, yeah, you're right. It hasn't gotten the reason that this has national implications is the inclusion of the Trump administration in perpetrating this crime. That's the reason it's important nationally. The fact that there are shenanigans in a New Jersey election is not necessarily breaking news, because there's shenanigans in every New Jersey election. But the fact that the federal government and the Trump administration had a primary role in this does have national implications and should be right up there with the Comey story.
Yep. I mean, and again, it's not to say that some of those other stories aren't important. It's you know, the thing in the ICE facility, it's like, that's frightening. That's bad. But part of me is like, where have you guys been the last how many freaking years? And it's just, for the first time that I can remember, the United States government handed out someone's social security number to somebody else.
A sitting person of Congress and a candidate for governor, no less.
Yeah.
We should be outraged if it was one of us. Not even a sitting person in Congress. We should be outraged if it was any one of us or anybody in chat.
That's Russia, East Germany level bullshit. That's
Kia wanted to ask a question.
So, this is kind of like a hypothetical. But if something was to, say, happen, something negative was to impact this congressperson / gubernatorial candidate, and it's tied back to the fact that her information and stuff is released, can those people, the person that released it, can they be held responsible?
Absolutely. But it has nothing to do with the election. It would, though, legally responsible would be for doxing Mikey Sherrill. Yes, that's illegal.
In the private
Absolutely,
sector,
Kia.
there would be absolute one. I said that before. My place of work, if we do that, huge implications. Privacy is so important. So in the real world, and not Looney Tune world, yes, this is 100% something someone can get in trouble for.
And yes, Kia, win, lose, or draw the election has nothing to do with it. The law was broken. The law was broken here.
Maybe my question didn't come out right, because I'm not even talking about the election. I'm talking about, like, if something happens to this woman. I'm not talking about her winning or losing the election. I'm talking about if something was to happen to her or her family, regardless of the election. I'm just talking about the information being released. Would it be the person who, quote unquote, made the mistake?
Who would be held accountable?
Yes, there you go. Thank you.
The person who released the information would be held accountable, and there's also accountability to those who disseminated it.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone.
The answer to your question is yes on both counts. Yes.
So
is that a civil or criminal liability, though?
Both.
Okay.
So the the people at the National Archives, whoever in there, if it was one person that did it, if multiple people had a conversation and decided to do it, they could be held accountable. The person that once they got the FOIA request and saw that information and still handed all of it out, if Shitterelli knew and still passed it out, again, it still comes down to what they can prove. The only thing that they can prove is that there was a FOIA request. Somebody in the National Archives gave an unredacted version of it with information that should not be allowed to be unredacted. And Shitterelli's team saw it and is using the information. What they've done after that, I don't know. I don't know what they can prove, but
yeah, and that's important to note. Anytime there is a criminal case, there has to be intent. You're going to have to show intent. But I mean, you'd have to be willfully blind not to see the intent here. I mean, you'd have to be blind.
Well, we know that their campaign got access to at least some of the information, if not all of it.
Sure, they released it, and they tried to weaponize it. She was involved in the cheating scandal. Are you fucking kidding me, Jack? That's the best you got? That's not going to move the needle one iota. Oh, you got to be kidding me. That's why I said before, the other part of this that just baffles me, because Jack Citarelli is no babe in the woods. He's been around for a while. This is just remarkably dumb politics. I mean, forget the legalities here. Forget the morality even. It's stupid. It's stupid what he did.
I mean, you're right, Catwoman. Social Security numbers aren't part of a FOIA request in the sense of they cannot give you an unredacted, they can't give you a document unredacted and give someone their Social Security number. They just need to redact it. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is his third time running for governor. We talked about that in the video, which again, make sure you watch the video. Not to mention that video, but the one that we did with Pashley that released yesterday too. I kind of feel bad that big news happened on the day we released it because now it's splitting numbers.
Whoops.
I have never been so busy as I was yesterday. I literally went from doing this live to recording another episode to talking with Casey and in talks with Mikey's team and trying to get everything prepped for the recording and then doing the recording and then getting all that stuff posted and writing the Substack. And it just, I went nonstop from like 9 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. on stuff. It was the craziest day that I've had in a long time that didn't involve like working some sort of performance.
And by the way, not to be lost in all of this, Mikey Sherrill is not only a good congressperson who has a stellar record, she's just also just a good person. And that should not be lost in all of this. Mm-hmm. Whether she was a congressperson or not, a candidate for governor or not, she's had a really remarkable life and a remarkable career. I mean, there's a reason I supported her in the primaries. I voted for her in the primaries, and I'll proudly vote for her in November. She's just a good quality candidate.
Thank you, Claire. I mean, it was a really, I mean, you know I love talking with you, Pashley, but I really enjoyed, because again, it's not, I've definitely interacted with tons of people from the LGBTQIA community, but actually I think our conversation was the first time I've interacted with a parent with someone in that community, at least in the trans community, and just, you know, hearing what you and your family were going through as a whole, from start to finish, was, I mean, anytime I get a chance to learn more, I'll take it. So I really appreciated it.
No, thanks for having me on. I just want the information out there. Like, you know, we're hearing things as wild as kids are going to school and coming back with gender reassignment surgeries, and you're like, well, hang on. Hang on. It's been
well, you
harrowing.
know, that's why they cut the $2 billion from the Department of Ed.
But that's what's crazy to me is they're gutting the Department of Ed, but then the Department of Education removes $23 million of funding from my kid's school system. The things we need from the school system are very different than like what the DOE and most Republicans are clamoring on about like the sports and kids being able to participate in the sport in which they identify their gender as, right? That's what the DOE is feeling spicy about. But like, all we need is for my kid to just be called her name, mm-hmm. and to not have the crap kicked out of her when she goes to school. That's literally all I'm asking.
Scott Phillip over on the tube had a question for you. If this doxing case were to go to court, would it be state or federal level since it involves an election?
That's a good question. I believe that they could be charged in both areas.
I do
Because it's
too.
a social
Because
security number and things like that.
There are federal issues involved here, and there are state issues involved here. And by the way, I do believe there'll be legal action. I mean, we're early in the process. A lot of information is yet to be come out. And again, in any criminal case, at least, you're going to have to show intent. I don't think it's going to be hard to show, but you're going to have to show intent. So we don't want to put the cart before the horse. I'm always very cautious about talking about that. But no, they're both state and federal laws involved here. To answer your
I'm
question.
pretty sure that if I remember, I don't remember the whole release that Casey read. I'm pretty sure she said that they were looking at, you know, whatever legal responses they had available to them. So,
yeah, my guess is, Mike, that the legal issues will, unfortunately, the legal case will kick in after the election. We're only 40 days out. And Mikey Sherrill's in a, again, not as tight, I don't think, as the Emerson poll said, but she's in a tighter race than it was a month and a half ago, slightly tighter. And, you know, she's got to spend her time campaigning.
And I think the other reason they'll wait is because that would give them another argument, right? If she happened to lose, that would give another thing to put on the table.
Yeah, I think it's best to focus on the campaign, and I, you know, as I pointed out all the reasons why this is a little bit tighter than Virginia, namely, the first and foremost, New Jersey has a long habit of not giving a third term to one party, and if she wins, that would be a third straight Democratic term, and she has those headwinds, but she also has going for her the fact that most of the undecided vote, 2/3 of which voted for Harris, and I just don't see Harris voters voting for Jack Citarelli. I just don't see it.
And Rosa, you're right. It's not just Turning Point. You're talking Turning Point, Moms for Liberty, Heritage Foundation. They've all been given this power to write new civics lessons, which is just, and PragerU. Forgot about PragerU. So I'm pretty sure those are the four that I saw mentioned that are all involved in writing these new civics lessons for kids.
That's absolutely horrifying on so many levels.
Mm-hmm.
Because we didn't have great civics education. Clearly, we can see that. A lot of people don't understand separation of powers.
And Lori, the other thing, I know you're worried, Lori, the other thing to remember is that the Democrats have almost 1 million voter registration advantage in New Jersey. So there's reason for concern, but there is zero reason for panic. None.
Mike, did you see how Vance was here talking all that shit about Cooper?
No, doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, because I think it was either yesterday or the day before was the 1 year anniversary of when Helene hit, and they were talking about stuff. And while Vance was here, he brought up the Ukrainian young lady in the whole the subway or train. I'm sorry, my brain is kind of foggy right now, but
The
that
light
whole
rail
situation, and he was sitting there talking about how it's because Cooper was soft on crime and he let all these criminals go.
Of course he did.
And it was just,
Brits, I don't think anyone can lose an electoral vote until they do a new census. That's when they decide how many electoral votes the different states get. Scott can tell me if I'm wrong. I'm sure he would know. But that's my understanding.
I was answering in chat. Could you repeat what you just
Brits
said, please?
asked if it was true if New York lost an electoral vote, and it's my understanding that numbers of electoral votes is decided after the census.
Yes, the electoral votes will be decided after the 2030 census, and that's an important point to bring up. There is no doubt, obviously, the population is shifting further south. The population is shifting further west. The Democrats are going to the blue states, I shouldn't say Democrats. The blue states are probably, the best estimates now, going to lose about 12 electoral votes. The red states are going to gain 12. What does that mean? What that means is that the rule of thumb that has existed and will exist in 2028, but not in 2032, the rule of thumb that if the Democrats take Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, they win no matter what happens down south. It doesn't matter. They still win because they hit 270 on the button. That's gone.
Now,
that means after 2030, the Democrats are going to have to win southern or western states.
Now, this is all assuming that over the next 5 years that it doesn't change back. And there's the whether or not enough could move over to change it drastically. I'm not. Who knows? I don't know how fast those kind of things happen.
It won't be drastically. It'll be anywhere between 10 and 12 electoral votes. And what that means is that the Democrats would have to take Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and then add Georgia, or add North Carolina, or add Arizona. Now, the good part of that is the people who are leaving the blue states are not going to move down to retire to Georgia and all of a sudden become Republicans.
Or they're not going to move to places like Alabama. They're going to move to places like North Carolina and Georgia. And
no, you've seen it in your state. Kia's seen it in your state. You've had a lot of transplanted people from New Jersey, from New York. I think Kia's a transplanted New Yorker, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm a transplanted in Massachusetts.
Yeah, you're transplanted from Massachusetts. So you didn't come down and say, "Whoo, I'm in North Carolina. I guess I'm a Trumper now." You didn't do that. Kia didn't do that. So, while it's true that the changes in demographics will cause blue states to lose some electoral votes, those voters are going to purple states. And the whole reason that North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona are now somewhat competitive for the Democrats is because a lot of Democrats have moved into there.
I think a lot of people, because North Carolina for so long has been an affordable, semi-decent place in the South to live, like you couldn't pay me enough to live in Florida, like ever. And Georgia's gotten pretty bad. And we've got beaches, we've got mountains. A lot of people are starting to look at that. We have some areas you can still go, and there's a lower cost of living comparative to others. But you're right, like moving states doesn't usually change people's political affiliations.
Exactly.
Brits, what part of South Carolina? I go in there all the time because I live close. Greenville? Okay.
Hey, Mike, technical question. You said that somebody asked me a question in the tube.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that if people ask a question in the tube, it doesn't show up here? I'm on TikTok talking to you right now.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
They can see the chat over here because I've made it possible, but I can't. There's not enough space on my screen to do it the other way around.
Thank you for explaining that.
I will say that if you're on your phone, you probably can't see the TikTok chat, and I can see it because I'm on my iPad and I have it turned sideways. You can see the chat, but they can hear us. The people on YouTube, even if they're not over here, they can hear us talking, even though they don't see us on the screen.
But yeah, I practically live half the time in South Carolina because I'm in Charlotte. So it's always fun to see people in the area.
I just struggle though, because I'm 2 hours and 15 minutes from Myrtle Beach. And when I tell you I've spent years, decades. I've lived in North Carolina. What year is this? 2025. I've been in North Carolina 27 years. And I've been going to Myrtle Beach for at least 20. And I just struggle with all the shit that South Carolina is quietly doing in the background with women's health care laws and Mace and the school stuff and everything. I just struggle with wanting to spend my money there, just like with Florida.
There are Dems in every state, Leslie. That is a dumb statement. Like literally every state. Just like there are Republicans in every blue state.
Well, Mike, if it'll make you feel any better, that's not the only dumb statement she's just made.
Morning, everyone.
Hey.
Hello.
I'm sorry to hear that, Brits.
Brits, that makes me so angry. It makes me so sad for you, and it just makes me so angry. And I can't even say the words I want to say on TikTok.
I'm with Kia. Same. They're not TikTok friendly words at all.
I just looked at Leslie's little description thing. She's in Alabama. What does she know about blue states? People aren't leaving blue states to go to Alabama. I'm sorry. That doesn't mean none have, but not in any amount of numbers to...
Oh, we have to be nice here. You're setting me up for so many of my Alabama jokes, Mike. Oh,
see, you need
God,
to go.
You're setting me up, and I'm
you need to go
biting my
over to the
tongue.
tube. Then you can type in whatever you want.
Oh my God. Blue states are trash. Yeah, well, who pays your bills? Where do you think our tax dollars go to subsidize the red states?
The fact that one state in this country that is blue is the fourth largest economy on the entire planet means you have no idea what you're talking about.
Like, I'm from Canada, and I'm like, of all the states that I could think of that I would possibly ever consider, Alabama is like, doesn't even pop up in my brain. Like, I hate to say it. Like,
I mean, the guy's name is Nothing Is True. So.
I saw a video. I saw someone in chat, Philip, same person, talking about having teachers in my family. I'm concerned about what that psycho from Oklahoma is going to do.
So he's resigning.
Who's the he? I'm sorry.
I'm assuming if he's talking about teachers, he's talking about Ryan, whatever his name is, the superintendent for Oklahoma. He's stepping down.
I had reposted this video I came across, and it was this dude. He teaches AP civics class and government or something like that, and he's in Oklahoma, and they had gotten that Bible, you know, the one that's got all the stuff that most Bibles don't have, and he was like talking about how the parts that are missing, how important it is, and like how they took out all the maps that are supposed to show geography and all that stuff. And he was like, if you don't know what you're reading and what this is supposed to be or not be, this is so dangerous. And he was just like, the fact that the what they're sending out, the information they're giving out that has to do with the government isn't even like factual, that's very scary.
It's terrible.
Leslie DM'd me. Big man blocking me, then shit talk about me. I didn't block you, Leslie. You wouldn't have been able to DM me if I blocked you. You're not real bright anyway. That's obvious. Now I'm blocking you. Goodbye.
I was trying to do it. I had the
Sorry.
blocking. I had the block list pulled up, and I pulled up the mute list, and I'm like, "What's her name?" Because I was gonna block her.
Sorry.
Oh God,
Oh.
that's precious.
Nothing
Oh my
nothing
God.
is true is complaining now too. Wow, you're a little botch. All I said is blue states are trash. I live in one and can argue it, but no, you're too much of a brainwashed dumb shit to even let others talk.
Well, when you have an opening line like blue states are trash, where does the conversation go from there? Oh gosh, these people are precious.
Oh my God, it's hilarious. Oh my God. I had
What do you Southerners say? Bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
bless your little heart. I'm sorry, I'm dying.
You gotta put the twang on it, because bless your heart could be a good thing.
Bless your heart.
You gotta put your hand on your chest, say, bless your heart. Bless your poor. And then if you get the shoulder tap, you really know you're in for it. Bless your poor little heart.
I mean, again, the thing I say this all the time, guys. Ryan Walters, and he's becoming the CEO of Teacher Freedom Alliance, who are against teachers unions. Yep. I mean, the fact is Ryan Walters, that thing, that alliance that he's joining, that's a nationwide thing going against teachers unions. So yeah, technically it could affect Oklahoma too, but they're a long way from being able to do anything to teachers unions. That hopefully we get our shit together before he can actually do anything about that. But
yes.
I wanted to say before, no one's got freedom to say whatever they want. No one's got freedom to say whatever they want in this live. In this live, TikTok gives me the ability to make sure no one can talk, because they can have terms of service. I can have terms. I do. When you come in, there's a little note that pops up that says what is allowed and what isn't allowed. If you want to say, I live in a blue state and I'm struggling with not seeing the good in it, that's a conversation starter. That's actually a valid conversation starter, whether or not I agree with you. But coming in and just going, blue states are trash, literally ignores everything about the realities of it. So
Tell me you're not here to engage in good faith without telling me.
we don't talk with people who aren't willing to have true conversations. And again, if you don't want to have a conversation, but you want to rage at all the things I say, then sit here and be quiet. I don't care. I can't control that. But if you're going to come in, you're going to open your mouth in my chat and you're going to say stupid things, there's going to be repercussions. And the repercussions are, depending on what level it is, you can either just not participate, but you can watch, or you can't get either. That's just a reality. I go into chats that if I started talking, I know I would get blocked. So I don't talk.
And Lori, yeah, we get hateful DMs all the time. And I know a lot of them come from me. And it's honestly, if there wasn't a limit, all of those kind of comments, they'd all get just blocked and muted. But TikTok limits how many people we can block. So if it's not that bad, I just mute them and they can listen and try again the next day. But then if they come in the next day and they're still being an ass, they've got to go. They don't have the right to be here. That is not one of their rights that they're given or promised in the Constitution.
Yeah, I think I'm sure all of us on this panel have gotten hate DMs or all sorts of odd DMs. I have to go clean out my DMs. I think I'm at like 700 unread messages because every day it's like more messages, and I just like can't be bothered. It's like my inbox on my phone, on my email. I can't be bothered to look at half the ones that come in because I'm just like, I know what they're going to say. So I'm like, there's no point in me even looking at them. I just delete them if I don't know who the person is. I got a hate DM on Facebook yesterday. It was the first time on Facebook. That was pretty special.
Brits, you talking about your experiences is never a problem. There are people that live in blue states that have valid concerns and angers. It's really hard to afford to survive in places like Massachusetts and California. The cost of living is insane. And depending on where you are in that situation, I can see why you think it's trash. It's not that he has an issue with blue states. It's that he came in and made the only statement he made, the first statement he made, was that blue states are trash. He didn't engage in conversation. He didn't sit here and talk about his experience. He didn't even say that he lived in a blue state until he DM'd me. Cost of living is pretty bad everywhere. Even in the places that it's easier to survive, it's still bad compared to the average pay.
And that's why I try to mute first, and I do mute for the whole live, because if they really care about what we're talking about, they can listen. And then they could try again tomorrow and not come in so hot and not come in just saying shit and not listening first. It's like they come in and they just start typing in the comments. It's like, listen for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, there's a lot of things to complain about in blue states. I know in my state we have a very high tax burden. We have the highest property taxes in the country, and that is a perpetual issue. We just got hit with a 20% in 1 month, 20% across the board electric bill increase. That's a big issue here, and the costs are a lot, but U.S. News also said we have the best public educational system in the country. So you get what you pay for. Mm-hmm. And you have to weigh those things before you say, oh, this is horrible, the taxes are too much. Well, they're educating our kids. That's important too, isn't it?
Yep. I mean it's like when people complain about the amount of taxes over in Europe. And again, not saying Europe's perfect, but you pay more, but you get more. You get single payer healthcare. You get free education often. You get a lot of things for what you are paying.
Exactly. I complain often about my province and our taxes here. But when I complain, it's because it doesn't seem like we're getting value for the taxes we're paying. I'm not complaining about paying taxes. I have no problem paying any of the taxes, provided I feel that we're getting the value in services that we are paying for, which in my province is exceedingly questionable because there's always corruption scandals. So we know it's not getting spent on the people. It's getting spent. Or okay, I should rephrase that. It's not getting spent on the citizens in this province who aren't within the governments or their friendship circles. That's how I'll qualify it. But I don't think it would matter where you go on the planet. People are struggling because the cost of living has been increasing all over the place. Our taxes feel high everywhere because the most important factor is that wages have not been keeping up with inflation and all of the increases in cost of living for probably, I'm going to say me and Mike, our whole lifetime, because we're not super far apart in age. We're a couple years, enough to make us different generations, technically.
What are you talking about? I'm 28.
Well, I'm 24, so there.
The truth finally comes out. It finally comes out.
Yep. But yeah, it's that the wages have not been keeping up historically, over the past, I'm going to say probably around 45 years, give or take a few, depending on where you are. And that's really the problem. I mean, we're seeing that really creep up on us, I think, more than we have previously. And it's it's annoying. Yes, Mike, you still haven't released your skincare routine, by the way. Since I'm talking, I might as well just ask for it, since Scott's been bugging, and so have I.
It's called wake up and do stuff, like get coffee. Thank you, Patty, for the whale. That thing was really cool. Lady Loki, I agree with you. I think my one argument would be that my biggest argument about saying, I mean, I hate the labels Republican and Democrat or red and blue anyways, to an extent, because I think it does kind of ignore it emphasizes and pushes the idea that you need to support a quote unquote team. That being said, I think it's impossible to say many states are anything really, like truly, because such a small percentage of a lot of states actually vote. Like when only 60% of your state that can vote does vote, it's hard to say that your state is something. It's better to say that of the people that vote in the state, they are majority Republican. Saw something that says they purposely keep money scarce so they always have workers. I mean, there's a lot of, I hate to say conspiracy theories, but arguably without actually interacting with anyone, it's hard to say one way or another what it could be. The result that you will get from closing the Department of Education, or at least the funding from the Department of Education, and what you will get in with everything from these Medicaid cuts, is you will get an increase of kids that join the military because they won't have other prospects. You'll get an increase of people that will work more physical labor jobs because they won't be able to get jobs that give an education. So whether or not they are doing all of these things with that in mind, I'm personally not willing to say one way or another, but that will definitely be a result of it.
Well, another result, there's a certain segment of our society that are special needs that the Department of Education has been very helpful in, and they're just going to be left behind.
That's true too.
They're not going
Correct.
to be the ones who can find a job. Their lives are going to be screwed.
Yep.
That's despicable. And that's what is going to happen.
It's eugenics is what it is. It's eugenics.
Yeah. That's a proper word.
C West, I have no issue with people joining the military. I do have an issue with the government putting their thumb on it and forcing, basically not giving kids any other option. They're basically saying, we're not going to help get you a good education because we need more people in our military. That's my only issue. If you want to join the military, if that's your thing for whatever reason, more power to you. Thank you for your service.
I agree. My oldest son was gonna go into the Army. I'm kind of thankful now that he didn't. It's kind of like I totally get both sides. I mean, when I say I grew up in a military family, both my biological father, my adoptive daddy are both in the service. My daddy was in the military. It was in the Army for 22 years. Out of 16 between the two different parents. Two of my two dads are 16 siblings. 10 of them were in the service. I literally had at least 30 cousins in the service. My niece and my little sister are both in Japan actively serving. I just hate the fact that it's become like they've become like political pawns, and they can start, how they threw all the trans people out regardless of how they served our country, how they're pulling the National Guard to be trash sweepers and stuff, how they're trying to push as hard as they can to trying to be careful with what I'm saying, but the whole military stuff on the streets here. It's definitely one of those things where I get it.
Honestly, C West, in this current system, I probably wouldn't encourage anyone to join, especially if you are. Yeah, I wouldn't encourage anyone to join, because I don't trust this administration to not force people to do things that are against humanity.
Unethical. But can I respond to C West? Because as somebody coming in from maybe a slightly different perspective, because obviously military service in Canada and the US are done in slightly different ways, I guess would be the only way I can think of how to say it. I have the utmost respect for those people who choose to serve, and here in Canada, it's definitely more a choice. I have the utmost respect. I was in Army Cadets. Promise I could not be in the Army. Just I do not have the personality. We'll put it that way. I do not have the personality. The people who ask why questions are not meant to be in the military. I have the utmost respect, but I do not believe for one second that the only way to build character in young people is to put them into military service. There is a lot of ways that we can have people build character, and it should be aligned with things that are of interest and are helpful to that individual specifically. Putting people like me who are people who ask questions all the time in a structure that is meant to, you are never meant to ask a question, you are just meant to follow orders, is detrimental and harmful to them. And vice versa, people who need more structure and need to have more of a authoritarian leadership for them to do well in whatever they choose to do, that's a perfect structure for them to build and grow themselves as a person. But it should always be seen as a choice, that it's something you want to do, not something you are forced to do because of financial circumstances. Like, I don't think it should be something that should be a choice, something that you should want to do, not forced to do.
And and to piggyback on that, I don't think, C West, again, you don't need the military to build responsibility. I think saying that everybody needs to join the military is like saying that everybody needs to have somebody in control of them, and I don't agree with that. I
don't think they said needs, but
Well, Green Girl brought up something that I think is pretty important in chat. Just what the hell is Pete Hegseth pulling by getting up to 800 flag rank and general officers coming into Washington that next week? That is unprecedented. I wish to hell I knew what they were up to. I've never heard of anything like this. If there's something important that you want to tell a 4-star general in Europe or in Asia, we have secure communications. That can easily be done by then, and in fact, in every other instance, has been done without calling them all into Washington and all placed in one building at one time. That is very strange. That is a weird story, and I wish the press was all over it. They should be. I don't know what's going on there. I've never heard of anything like that. But that should be a much bigger story than it is.
But it's scary. That's that's scary news in my mind. And
It's never happened, Tiffany.
no, and that's why
It's not as if we don't have skiffs and other secure methods of communication throughout the world. We have the most secure communication system on Earth. And there is absolutely no logical reason to call in a dangerous world, to call the top-ranking officials, top-ranking generals and admirals, having them all leave their fleets, all leave their commands, all come to Washington. What happens if something happens in the world and they're not there? This is really bizarre stuff, and somebody should be asking about it.
it's anything I would say would be basically bordering on conspiracy theory, because it would only be a theory. We'll put it that way. It would be my pattern recognition giving a theory as to what I feel could or would happen. But it's dangerous and it's scary, and that's kind of really all I have to say. But I just wanted to answer C West, or kind of say something, because they had said that if you didn't have anybody volunteering there, you guys wouldn't be in a position that you were in America. And as somebody coming from a different country, we do have people volunteering. We do have people doing this in other countries in the world. And we do have respected, highly respected military personnel in, I'm going to say, pretty much all countries around the world. Like Canada may not have a large army, but ours is highly respected and highly trained. We have some of the best pew-pewers in the world on record. Like, to think that you need to force people somehow, be it financially, be it offering them education, be it whatever the things you are doing to entice people into that service, means that you're going to have a stronger, better one. I don't agree with that logistically, because you know what? People who want to be there are going to work harder. They're going to go that extra mile. People who are only there because they want the benefits are not going to be giving as much of their all. And it just, and then also to compare it to anybody who chose to go into service during any of the great wars, well, that's extenuating circumstances. People make very differing decisions when there's threats to their family, friends, safety. We'll put it that way. I'm trying to use my TikTok words as best as I can. I'm never going to agree that we should be forcing people, however we choose to do so, to go into service of any kind. And that doesn't just include the military. That would include any service of any kind. I think if we want to give our children, and by children, I mean those graduating high schools, the best opportunity to be the best versions of themselves as adults, I don't think college is necessarily the best opportunity. There should be programs in place, I feel, and this is just my opinion, after high school, that give these children a taster of things that they would want to be part of. If you want to be part of scientific research, why not have a 6-month program where these children can go in and see what that looks like, see what the things that they would want to do would look like, if that's something they chose to do for the rest of their days, because it would then allow us as humans to do things that would align more with our purpose, rather than the opportunities available to us based on our financial circumstances.
Rora, to answer your question in chat, what do we think about Russia and Poland? It's not just Russia and Poland. It's Russia and Estonia. It is Russia and Denmark. It is Russia and over the skies near Alaska yesterday. Vladimir Putin is playing a very dangerous game, and he's playing a very dangerous game with a very weak hand. The Russian military has been decimated in Ukraine. They have very few qualified frontline soldiers. They have nothing but conscripts and criminals and North Koreans fighting for them. And their aircraft is junk. Their anti-missile defenses have been proven in Iran to be next to useless against modern aircraft. So I don't know what Vladimir Putin is playing at, but I'll tell you what, Poland is one of the strongest military powers in Europe. And if I were Vladimir Putin, I'd watch out. He doesn't have to worry about NATO. He certainly has to worry about NATO, but not NATO per se. Poland alone could kick the crap out of him.
And you take Poland and Finland, they'd really be in trouble.
Yeah, Poland, Finland, the Baltic states are nothing to laugh at. Sweden has excellent technology, and NATO itself, even without the United States, could kick the crap out of Russia. So I don't know what Putin is playing at. He's doing his usual KGB bluff game, but all he's doing is unifying the Europeans, as evidenced by their massive increases in defense spending. And how's that helping him? Germany's going to kick in another $1 trillion on top of that.
Well, and I believe Canada has already pledged its support in whatever it could do to help in Europe, because of course that's our closest allies, like next to the US. And it always has been.
I mean, Brits, I firmly believe that Putin's got something at minimum on Trump, which is why that man jumps back and forth like nonstop. So,
to not sound necessarily conspiratorial, it makes me wonder if the decision that Scott was talking about earlier has anything to do with all of the little pawn moves that Putin is taking at the moment.
I have no idea, Tiffany. I have no idea why Hegseth is doing this at all. Calling in all of our general officers, 800 of them from around the world. This is bizarre.
Do we have any active community? Oh my gosh.
Active members in the community?
Any community members that are actively serving right now that has heard anything? I'm curious. If it wasn't midnight, I would call my sister in Japan. But
I mean, I can't speak for all of them. I've interacted with some that are apart, but they are unwilling to talk now. They're too nervous. A lot of people that are active right now are too nervous to look like they're making public statements.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to talk to them publicly on here. I was just curious if we do have any in our I'm really curious what the vets that are up there in DC right now protesting. I'm curious what they all have to think about it. Jolly and Matt and Laney and Riggs. I'm really curious what they think about that.
And to answer your question, Tiffany, do I believe it has something to do with Putin and NATO and Russia? I really don't know. I mean, trying to get into the mind of Pete Hegseth or Donald Trump is a futile effort.
Yeah.
It would require many, 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 many bottles of alcohol at the very least.
I don't even think that would work.
It's true. I don't even think that would work. Well, but if it has to do, I guess my mind thinking, if it had to do with NATO, then Canada would also be required to be at the very least present to some degree.
He's not calling in any NATO members. He's not calling NATO members. He's calling in general officers from every major command, not every major command, every command of American troops and ships throughout the entire earth. This has never happened in American history, ever, like not once. I have no idea why he's doing it.
It's not, if it's about NATO, it's not about like NATO universal preparedness. It's about like, it would be about US involvement in NATO or something like that. That's what it would be about. He's asking for a loyalty oath. That is what people are suggesting. No one actually knows.
That one would make sense, though, the loyalty comments. I saw that and I'm like, that would make sense in my mind.
Well,
I'm not it's true.
the Uniform Code of Military Justice forbids that. So good luck with that, Donald. The oath that you take as a soldier in the American military is to the Constitution of the United States. It is not to an individual.
The only, and again, I don't make, the reason, you know, other people say that makes sense, I'm not willing to say it, is because we don't know. It's really, that's part of the problem we're dealing with right now, is everything that this administration does is so wackadoo that our brains are just trying to make sense of it. And when you look at something like this and your brain goes, that makes sense. And because that makes sense, that's what you end up running with. And again, not saying it's not that, just saying it's the easy thing to do for all of us. Totally understand. That being said,
Anything would
if they're, you know, in a world where they were doing this quote unquote loyalty test, they've already gotten rid of generals. So is it a force of all of the possibilities? Is it one of them? Absolutely. So like when you were saying that, Scott, you're like, good luck. It's like this administration has already shown a willingness to just, if you don't say the right things, just be like, all right, well, welcome to retirement.
Doesn't this kind of leave us in a very vulnerable position? The fact that the entire world is going to know that all of our military leaders are going to be in the same place at the same time. It's just,
Yes, it does. You are, in effect, decapitating the leadership of every central command throughout planet Earth at the same time.
Yep.
On both air, land, and sea. This is bizarre on so many levels, I can't even begin to comprehend it.
You're
Literally can't begin to comprehend it.
Yeah, you're leaving America completely exposed right now, is what's happening. You're leaving America itself completely exposed all over the planet.
I mean,
and it's, if you want to talk with them, you have secure communications. They are there. We have the most secure communication system on Earth. You can speak with every central command throughout the planet, from Asia to Afghanistan, well, not Afghanistan anymore, from Asia to Europe to Africa. You can talk with them all, whether they're in the air, on the sea, or sitting in an office. You can talk with them anytime you want, completely securely. So there is no logical purpose to this, but as Mike just said, there's been nothing logical for the last 9 months. Why should this be any different?
Yeah, that's why I say we are sitting here as logical beings trying to make logic of the illogical. Like trying to make sense of what this administration is doing with anything is like trying to understand what the hell our current president is talking about when he gives a speech.
Well, he's telling world leaders at the UN that all their countries are going to hell. That's what.
No, that's what the outcome of what he's saying is. That's not what he's saying.
I'm sorry. I still have to laugh because it was just when I saw it online, when I saw people sharing it, I literally thought, I'm like, this is AI. This is made up. Like, there's no way. Like, even for that man, that is like beyond stuff he would do. And then I watched it and I was like, oh my goodness.
Jojo, I agree. This isn't a movie and he's making us a laughingstock. No argument. No argument. But it doesn't change the fact that we literally never know what this guy will say, will change his mind more than Pete Hegseth will get a new, glass of whiskey. And we know how much you did that.
Off.
So,
yeah, I mean, it is now 11:29 on the East Coast. And at 1:30 this afternoon, there could be a whole new foreign policy. Who knows? Who knows? He's like a toddler with a pew-pew in his hand. You don't know what he's going to do next.
Yep.
And that's our reality.
By the way, for everyone that's over here, just so you know, during the week, except for if we end up doing like music things, I am always going to be live here on TikTok, but also over on the tube. So if you like longer podcasts, go follow over there. I'm also live over there, which means you don't need to like worry about what you're saying and change how you say things because they aren't as crazy over there. And also, yesterday evening, I posted about a 20-minute video regarding what's going on with Congresswoman Cheryl being doxxed by our own government. If you could please go watch that, interact with it, send it to people. This is something that we need to keep being out there. I really appreciate it, and I know the fact is a government doxing a sitting congresswoman is one of the not only most unethical and illegal things, but it's also one of the most dangerous things, and we cannot understate the potential of what this could mean if this administration thinks that they can do something like this without any repercussions.
It's just the hypocrisy is not lost. I mean, when they're sitting there talking about all those years after he lost, he was screaming, they weaponized the DOJ, they weaponized the FBI, they weaponized the everything. And then every time something else happens, it just can't help but shake my head.
But that's exactly why he was saying it, to desensitize the public so that when he actually took control and did all those things, it would seem normalized.
Yeah, I would say it's even more than that, though. What he has done over the last 10 years has convinced his own base that eye for an eye is a responsible way of leading and being in society, which is why anytime we point anything out that they're doing, they just go, well, you did it, or well, X, Y, and Z. And it's like, because they have been taught that the correct response to someone doing something to you is, or even if it's perceived, the correct response to having something done to you, whether you deserved it or you didn't, perceived or reality, is to do that directly back.
Oh, yeah.
And Mike, I think it goes even further than that. Over the last 10 years, he has desensitized the American people of their sense of outrage and moral compass. I mean, people just sit there and see these things and shrug now. Whereas before, it used to be an absolute outrage, and it would be front page headlines. And this is on a daily basis with this man. He has ripped apart the sinews of the guardrails of American governance, and he's done it with the acquiescence of a supine Congress. And this is just so dangerous to the very precepts of democracy as to be terrifying. And the general public is not as outraged as they should be. Now, we are, but not enough.
Yep.
Philip mentioned it around the tube, and I just looked it up. The White House has taken down Biden's portrait and put up an image of an auto pen.
You just heard of that? Oh, sorry. I thought you guys already knew that, and you guys had talked about it on a live that I wasn't on. Yeah, no, it's just, it basically likens to his first term where Trump refused to didn't he refuse to have a portrait of Obama up there or something, or he refused to put? I don't know. I can't. It's been
No,
so
he,
long
he
with
had
this
he had the portrait
administration.
of Obama, but he put it in a place that nobody sees in the White House.
Okay.
It was so petty, it was
Yes.
ridiculous.
Either way, it's all about petty, pathetic bullying. And I hate to liken it to this, but these are pages torn directly out of 1920s Germany. Straight out the book. Like it's scary how straight out of the book. Like if you deep dive, it's insane. And it's for any of us with pattern recognition, it causes anxiety. Like there's so many times I'm starting to become I was anxious the minute he was elected, and I think now I'm starting to become desensitized from my own anxiety about this.
Well, that's just it. We're all desensitized, aren't we? And that's a shame. We shouldn't be. And while I don't think we are quite there's a lot of systemic differences between Weimar Germany and today's America. I don't think it's too far to say that we are quickly becoming Viktor Orban's Hungary. I think that's the closer analogy in the 21st century to what we're seeing here, both in terms of limiting the press, limiting law firms, limiting universities, the consolidation of media, right-wing media empires, which is moving so quickly as to be terrifying that in any normal administration would get the attention of the FCC and the antitrust division of the Department of Justice, whereas in this administration, they are getting the okay from the FCC and the antitrust division of the Department of Justice. It's awful hard. What was it? Marshall McLuhan said, the medium is the message. And when the right wing controls the entire stratosphere of news, entertainment, and social media, Houston, we have a problem. And that's exactly what Viktor Orban did in Hungary.
I'm suspecting there's probably a lot of similarities between Viktor Orban's regime and how he came to power and what he's done with it and what happened. And the reason I said 1920s, because that's really when a lot of the groundwork had been laid for the 30s in Germany. And we're seeing. So I'm assuming that a lot of what Viktor Orban did, or a good portion of it, is repeating certain dictators' behaviors in the way they came to power and what they did.
Sure. He took a lot of his playbook from the Bolsheviks and after the October Revolution in 1917. I mean, there's a lot of analogies here, folks.
Oh yeah.
History does repeat itself. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, there are a lot of similarities to 1920s Weimar Germany. Yep. I mean, the consolidation of the media under Dr. Goebbels and Mr. Hermann Goering, the SA led by Ernst Röhm. I mean, there's a lot of historical analogies here.
Yeah, so many of them. And obviously, I use Germany most often because it's something that more people are aware of than the Bolsheviks. Bolsheviks don't tend to be as well taught in school, at least in my perspective. They're kind of like a line item in the textbooks, unfortunately. I don't know why. But so many, we could draw lines to so many different dictators throughout the last, I'm going to say 150 years, and how their techniques on how they came into power and how they maintained control and what they did with the people. I want to encourage people, like, this is a time to get the books out or the documentaries, because what they did to bring back normalcy and democracy for some of these countries is something that will need to be studied. We'll put it that way. That's how I'm going to put it TikTok wise, because I don't know what they will and won't allow me to say.
What can you do to help make difference, Allison? You mean in terms of not having this country continue on its path? I mean, nothing quick. It's going to take a lot of work. Breaking things is easier than building them up. Need to vote. Need to vote in primaries as well as general election. Need to have conversations with people. Not with people that don't agree with your fundamentals, but those that do, but might not be listening or realizing what's going on. Like, there's a lot of people out there that they don't really care, quote unquote, about the whether trans people have rights or not. Like, that's not something they think about. They think about the other things, but they don't realize that they're all together. They're all, you can't care about one but not care about the other thing. They're all integrated.
You can reach out if you have like a local chapter of your party or what have you. You can reach out to them, like if you have a local office, and see if there's anything that you can do to help. If there's a candidate that you've seen, reach out to that candidate, to their people, and is there postcards you can do, mailers you can send, stuff like that.
Sit there and talk with your friends, talk with your neighbors, talk with your coworkers. Don't lecture them, talk to them, listen to them, listen to their concerns, show up at school board meetings, work at a food pantry, build a community. There's a million things that we can all do while we wait. Obviously, the big thing is vote, but the midterms aren't going to be for a year and 3 months. So until those occur, get involved more at a local level. Start building from grassroots up. It works, folks.
Allison, yes, it does seem impossible. And trust me, you're not the only one in this live that feels that way at times, especially. The problem is that we, because of things like social media and news cycles and all that other stuff, we want things to happen faster. It basically, because of the way internet works, social media works, we see like a year's worth of news in a day, kind of thing. Like, if you look back when people got their news from the radio or just the TV or just the newspaper, like, it took months for you to, like, for the information to disseminate. And now you're watching 1,000, different videos and opinions about the same thing. And it makes it, we've all said it, these last 9 months have felt like 9 years. And when it feels like that, it causes everything that we're doing to feel like it's moving at a snail's pace. And it is moving slow in the sense of people are hurting, people are suffering due to all of this. And if you have empathy, you're going to feel that.
Somebody brought up in chat that it appears the votes are there for the discharge petition. Folks, what a discharge is that's how you get a bill moved out of the House without the support of the Speaker. And there are 218 votes as we stand now. And now I'm going to say something that's probably going to disappoint us. Don't be surprised if Mr. Trump leans on those 3 Republican votes and gets 1 or 2 of them to flip.
So yeah,
Well, it would not surprise me in the slightest that of the 3 Republicans voting in favor of the discharge position right now, that at least one of them flips, and that's all it would take to have the discharge petition fail.
So the vote cannot happen until the 2nd at the earliest, I think, because the House is on recess in their goal to try and force the Senate Democrats to vote in the continuing resolution. So the new Congresswoman cannot be sworn in until they get back. So she could not even sign it for another, what are we at, a week, a little less than a week. And yes, it's already been reported that the Speaker of the House and the administration are putting pressure on the 3 Republicans that signed it. She's a Democrat. She's the daughter of the person whose seat was being filled. So
7th district in Arizona. And by the way, she won her election by 39 points. Harris took the same district by 22. That shed another increase of 17 points over 2024. So people are engaged out there, folks. They are engaged.
So,
but yes, I do expect Trump to really lean on those 3 Republicans. We'll see if they hold. We'll see.
And again, just because so for the person who said they won't allow it to vote, they won't have a choice. So if a discharge petition gets signed by 218 people in the House, that's forcing the vote. Basically the Speaker doesn't get a choice at that point. The question is whether or not either someone will pull their support of the bill so it can't go to a vote, or it goes to a vote and even though they signed it, they don't vote for it. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities with those 3 people, what could come of it. My guess is if they don't feel like they will get the vote, they will table things. So but I also think that there's a lot of people on the right even that want those documents released. And I think the reason they don't want it to go to a vote is it will be looked poorly upon for a lot of Republicans who may vote against releasing the files. So sure, you can do a commercial.
Sure, Kia. No problem. Anything for you, dear. Folks, as always, this has been a very provocative, informative, and entertaining conversation. And that's all thanks to your host, Mike, who works very hard at this. And if you look in your upper left-hand corner, you are going to see Mike's name. Now, pay attention to what's to the right of Mike's name. That's a little orange heart. Will you please tap on that heart? What you're going to see is a big box drop down. And you already know what I'm going to say next. On the right-hand side of that box will be 6 small rectangular boxes. Some will be blank. Don't worry about them. However, some will be shaded in black. Just give a little tap on those black boxes. That way, your content creator, Mike, gets points. And we all know what's coming next. Guess what? You get the same amount of points that Mike gets. Wow! And it's all inflation-proof, recession-proof. You get those points. So please, folks, in all seriousness, tap on that orange heart. Get Mike his points. You get rewarded with the same amount of points. It's the world's ultimate win-win. While you're at it, we do have a Discord where you can talk about, community members can talk about any darn subject you feel like. The best movie you saw, a good recipe you learned. You can talk politics. You can talk about anything you want to talk about. It's where the members of the community exchange points of view with each other. Worth your time. Don't forget the stack. I know we can't say the real word, easy for me to say the real word, but we all know what the stack means. What the stack is where Mike talks about a subject of particular interest to him that day. He encourages community interaction with that. And the best part is you have a choice. You can either read it or you can listen to it. Whatever floats your boat. Some people like to read, some people like to listen. Doesn't matter. You get the choice of both. And first and foremost, don't forget about YouTube. If you have not yet subscribed, please do that today. Mike is pouring out a ton of content. Now, some shorter form content, but mostly longer form content. And he has always a very interesting guest for a very provocative discussion on various different subjects, usually, but not always, about a political issue of the day. I think you'll really find it enjoyable. I like to listen to it when I have my morning coffee. Maybe that's the best time for you to listen to it, or you might want to listen to it before you go to bed. And if you haven't done it and you're hesitant to try out long form content, I got a deal for you. Just try one of them. Just try one. I'll bet you come back for more. So give it a whirl, folks. And whatever you do, get over to YouTube. It's the exact same name that Mike has up here, and subscribe to it. And there's two reasons. One, it's great in and of itself. And the second is, let's face it, folks, we don't know what's going to happen on this platform. It's all up in the air. We have to have a plan B in place, and this is part of plan B. So for various reasons, please subscribe over at the Tube.
And Lady Loki, you have to copy it, but if you go into my page, there's a link to everything except for maybe the Substack. But Substack's the same name too. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, again, if you could go over to the Tube and especially watch all of the episodes. We do a lot of work on the episodes, so any watching of it is helpful, especially if you also thumbs up it and all the other stuff. But also, if you could watch the video that he posted last night about what's going on in New Jersey and help push that out to people. I don't post very much on there right now. I've never been a fan of that kind of content. I tried doing it for a while and it just never got much traction. Me putting my thoughts here and there in like a sentence or two. I don't know. Maybe I'm just putting bad thoughts out. I don't know. It just it's never been my thing. I'm technically over there though. So if you want to follow, every once in a while I'll post things, but it's not a common occurrence for me.
You want to hear something funny? I was sitting here a while ago on my iPad getting pissed off because I couldn't make the TikTok comments scroll on the tube of you. And I've got TikTok open right here in my hand, my phone. I'm not going live today, y'all, just in case you couldn't tell.
You share Sky posts to sub and vice versa. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm one person, and right now I'm posting in a lot of places and doing a lot of things, and I'm working with some people I'm in talks with some people that hopefully will take some of the weight off of me doing everything, but it's still right now, it's all me. And I know it's easy, but it takes brain power. So brain power, I'm using every bit I have just to keep up with everything I'm trying to do to get the tube to grow. You guys get me the views I need on the tube so I can actually monetize. So I can, grow my ability to do stuff and get other people to help. I will expand. I will expand everywhere I can. But I cannot do it all on my own. What do you think will happen with, If I knew that, I'd probably be a billionaire on my own already. There's a lot of weird information coming out. Supposedly all the people are supposed to be like US people, but now there's reporting coming out saying Abu Dhabi royalty are going to be part owners of the US TikTok. So, I don't know.
Is that the UAE or that's the UAE, right?
I don't know. I just saw the report.
Yeah, they're going to get a seat on the board because they just bought $2 billion worth of Trump crypto. So, yeah, I know this is the world we live in, folks, and it's if you take a look at the names that are going to be on the board of directors of TikTok, it's not encouraging.
Yeah. Maureen, no, I don't want to have a life. I already don't have a life. I just can't add more to my already no life. Unless I can get people to help do some of these things. Because right now I'm designing the posts, I'm editing the posts, I'm editing different posts for multiple different formats while also doing, stuff around the house and cooking and cleaning and the stuff that a stay-at-home dad has to do. So if you guys want to help me raise a whole hell of a lot of money so I can pay to do all this full time, I would be ecstatic. But right now I'm just doing my best with the time that I got. I appreciate you all. Don't get me wrong. Please, I hope no one ever feels guilty about it. I'm not trying to make that. People say, oh, you should do this. And my brain goes, because it's like, I just can't add more. Just pushing my YouTube has pushed my brain to the brink. I'm doing 4 recordings next week because I want to make sure I've got content. Plus Tuesday night, I'm doing a co-live with Kaylee Peterson, who's running for Congress. I don't know if it's a co-live or she's joining mine. I haven't figured that out yet. To give you guys the ability to ask your questions, because one of the things I want to do is help platform progressive candidates that are doing the work, especially in red states. So it's just doing my best.
Mike, you should explain that Kaylee is a candidate for Congress in Idaho District 1.
Correct.
In Idaho.
Yep. One of the reddest districts in the country.
Did you see my proof of rapture picture?
I did. I did. That was
well,
funny.
I told you, Kia, it was me.
So
I'm enjoying it up here. I get TikTok. I get all the scotch I want, and they don't even charge me. Wow. And Netflix. And
all that to say, there have been some immensely supportive people that helped when I talked about how my equipment was dying. Got a new camera, a new soundboard coming in. I couldn't do it without you guys. All of you that gave to that were extremely generous, and I'm without words to in terms of the amount, how thankful I am for all of you guys. So it's completely fine. You, Kia, you help more. If I could explain the amount of calm that I have, that I get by knowing that I don't have to worry about my chat, that you and the other mods are keeping that safe. That is I wouldn't be doing this anymore if I didn't have that. So you guys, while I appreciate that you wish you could, I also don't worry about it in the sense of you guys are giving so much already. So yeah, guys, have an amazing freaking weekend. There's a possibility that there's still a possibility that I'll go live. Like I said, I'm working with some different people to try and trying to do a bunch of different things to try and get everything on the other side, the tube side to grow. And it just takes work, and I appreciate every bit of support you guys give. At minimum, I will see you guys on Monday. Yeah. So if I don't see you, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your weekend. And yeah. Thank you, mods. Thank you for the likes, the gifts, and the shares. You guys are amazing, just the way you are. And I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile. Do something that makes you happy. Bye, guys. And I know we're a little behind over here, but I'm just going to say thank you, guys. We're going to hold off a little bit so the timer gets there. And you guys are awesome and love you. And I'll see you on Monday. All right.